Hello, everybody, and welcome to this episode of In Case You Missed It. Today, I'd like to just talk a little bit about the syntax of C and how it might relate to Robot C. So I'm just going to kill this ad down here. And I've just clicked on Create a New Project. And each time you create a new project, you get this. So very quickly, lines 1 through 8 are comments. You can tell it's a multi-line comment. The multi-line comment begins with a slash star. All these other slashes are not part of the comment start. And it ends with a star slash. Again, these are just for cosmetics. This is the key to end the comment. So we have a comment here on multiple lines. The other way to comment your code is to use a single line comment. So I'm just tabbing over on line 13, and here is a comment. So single line comment, now those can go anywhere in the program, as well as on the same line as a statement. Line 9 is, well, this is standard C stuff. We won't be doing this in Robot C, but this is telling the C compiler to include another library of C code. This is a header file, you can tell because it has a .h extension on it. And this library has all the functions for performing I/O. By I/O, I mean, here's another crummy ad. Yay, that's a little annoying, but what do you get? It's free. So your program can display information down here on the output console. So that's output. You can also read data from the keyboard. That would be the input. Those functions that perform the output and the input are contained inside this library. So when you compile your program, those functions are added on, for lack of a better term, to your program to form a complete bundle. Okay, line 11 is a function. But it's not just any function, it is the entry point to your program. Why? Because its name is main. You can only have one function called main, and you must have a function called main. Now, in this case, functions, well, not in this case, in C and also Robot C, functions can return a value. That's what this is saying. The int means that the main function can return an integer value. And you can see that happening down here. When the function completes, it will return the value 0. This is used in C programming to indicate that all is well, no errors. So our main function can return an integer, and the parentheses are the argument list. So you can pass arguments to a function. We'll see how to do this later, but every function must have an argument list, and in this case, the argument list is empty, meaning there are no arguments coming into the program. Line 12 and line 16, these form the block. So this is the same as Robot C, same as JRU. A block is just a group of statements. Remember, just like JRU, all statements end with a semicolon. So this is a block. It's called the main block because it's part of the main function. And all these statements are executed when this function is called. Now, who calls this function? Well, the operating system calls it. Now, on line 13, we have a function called printf. It stands for print formatted. And we'll see later how you can make these output strings more complicated and to include data from your program. In this case, we're going to simply print this string or this array of string of characters called hello world. So this is another function similar to main. Here the argument list contains one argument, and it's this string called hello world. So the hello world is passed to the printf function, and then the result is displayed down here at the bottom. Note that all statements end with a semicolon. Also note that all statements within a block are indented. If you don't indent your code, or Yeah, it makes the code very difficult to read for humans. The computer doesn't care. I could put this entire program on a single line and it would still work. The statements are delimited by the semicolons. The compiler can figure all that out. But the humans would have great difficulty reading it. So that's why we go through the trouble of lining things up to make it easy for people to read. Now on line 15, I should mention line 14. Line 14 is blank line, and this is referred to as white space. Again, it helps to improve the readability of the code. You can do this, and it runs just as well, but we're adding this line. Now the tab character here is also white space. That also helps, well, it's for the indentation, but it helps readability. Line 15 is the return statement. Now note that the keyword return is part of the C language. You cannot use you cannot create a variable, for example, with this name. So these are keywords, part of the language. The printf, all the orange stuff, return and include, these are keywords from the language. The printf is in red, but it's not part of the C language. It's a function in this library over here. So line 15 returns a value. This 0 is placed into this integer, and whoever called this function, namely the operating system, would receive a 0 back. And that would indicate to the operating system that the function ended correctly. Well, now, we don't do this in RobotC, but here in C, we do it. Remember, RobotC is a subset of C. Now, let's run the program. I can just click on the, now note it's not saved, so I'm going to save it. And I'm just going to call it test3. I think I have some other projects called test. Hang on, kids, 1 second. I had to check something with the cat. So we're going to run the program. It's been saved. Note these buttons are context sensitive. I can no longer save it because it's already saved. And let's run it. Now, you can see over here it's asking us to choose the language. We click OK and then select C. Should only have to do that once, but yeah. Now, it ran the program. There's hello world. And it's saying program finished with exit code 0. That's this 0. And press enter to exit the console. The console is this black window. So if I press enter, yeah, we're back here with another annoying ad. Oh dear. Okay, so let's run it again, but this time instead of using the interactive console, we'll use the text console. So we click on the run button. And it compiles it and it executes it. 2 steps. Well, there's a third step, which is transparent to you. It first compiles your code, and then it links your code to the code that's in this library. That's done by a separate program called the link editor. And after the linking is done, it forms a complete executable bundle and then executes your program, and this is the result. So let's try some fiddling around. Let's remove this comment, and let's duplicate this line. Command C, and press enter, and Command V, and press enter, and Command V. And now let's run it again. Now, notice the output. It's a little wonky. It doesn't look very nice. How can we improve that? Well, there is no end-of-line character here. It just prints the string, and then it prints this one right behind it. So there's an escape character /n. This is called the new line character or end-of-line character. Now if we put one of those on the end of each line, like so, and run it again, you'll see the output's a little nicer. They're lined up. Now, let's suppose you want to move these out toward the center a little bit and have a blank line in front? Well, here we can type in printf, and this time we'll just print an empty string. This is still a string, but there are no characters in it. And, well, there is one, a new line character. So we'll just print a blank line, and then in front of each string, we're going to put a tab character. C is a very low-level language, and this is how you do things. All right, so here we're going to print a blank line, and then we're going to print these 3 lines, and they'll be tabbed in. One tab. Let's run it again. There. So here's the blank line, and it's been tabbed in. Now, with this information, you should have enough to do exercise 1, which is displaying a triangle. And I believe it's also asking you to display a triangle and to display another shape. Your triangle is going to look something like this. Now here it's displayed in the interactive console, but you can also display it in the text console. Up to you. So your second, here it says display. Okay, this is not quite right. We're going to display a triangle of any size. Let's see. Okay, I'm going to edit this in a moment to, you're going to display a triangle and then followed by some other shape. You decide what the shape is. Okay, I think that's enough for now. We'll talk about this in class. But this is for recap in case you want to review and for the people that are unable to attend the class. Okay, let me go back to, let's see, how do I end this guy? All right, that's it, kids. See you later.